Hello, well investors, welcome back to a video about Vinch and specifically the company Nike today. So I hope that you know Nike. Nike is one of the largest sports apparel brands in the world, if not the largest, with Adidas. So what we are looking into today is actually the latest news. So they published a couple of days ago, so June 27, 2024, they published their latest quarterly figures and the full year report. And I'm going to show you side by side actually how you can interact with Vinch. So on the left hand side first, I've downloaded, so they have not published the latest 10K report yet, but I'm showing you here what they already published, which is like an intermediate report where you can see the unaudited consolidated balance sheet. Of course, this with the 10K will become audited. So a couple of things that are interesting here, and I'm going to show you on the right hand side how to use Vinch for that. You see, for example, that the cash and cash equivalents have been growing by 33%, short-term investment went down by 47%, but rough cut, they have a 11.5 billion current assets on this. So this has been a little bit growing year over year. That's interesting. You see that inventories went down. That's always good news when inventories go down. I like companies where inventories are going down. And also you see that the total amount of assets has been growing by 2%. And you see that the equity has been growing here also by 3%. And very interesting things that I like as well is that the company has been reducing the amount of long-term debt. So they have been actually reducing here, while there is one current portion of long-term debt, so probably they have to repay 1 billion in the upcoming 12 months, but rough cut, they have not increased that. That's something I like. Something that is very interesting as well, of course, I practice my eyes since many years, is to look at debt to equity ratio and cash to debt ratios. So, and I mean, you could look at this on Morningstar or other websites like Yahoo Finance, etc. Basically, I'm gonna use Vinch on the right hand side to do this. So the first thing is I'm gonna ask actually Vinch what is the latest share price of Nike, and let's ask the model on that. So Vinch is actually, if you would not know, Vinch is a large language model that it's a custom GPT built on top of OpenAI, with the intention of making investors worldwide much more productive in their investment process, versus I was before going on a website like Yahoo Finance. You have ratios, but you have no interpretation of those ratios. Those websites do not calculate the intrinsic value. What is the a share worth versus its market price? So that's the type of thing that actually we're using Vinch for ourselves. I'm a value investor for more than 20 years. So we have created Vinch GPT for that, and Vinch stands for Value Investing Next Generation. One thing that I can show you as well is that we do have a Discord channel, and actually how to access Vinch GPT. Go on the vinchgpt.com website where you have the URL here in the video, and from there actually you have the link to the Vinch GPT OpenAI store, and you have also the link to the Discord channel where we are making the announcement, release notes, feature requests, bug reports, how to prompt the model, etc. There's a forum where people can ask questions, etc., etc. So yeah, I strongly recommend you to go on the channel. Okay, let's come back. So here I've been asking Vinch what is the latest share price of Nike. I'm asking here also Vinch what is the date of data for that. So it should say June 28th. One thing that I can mention here as well is that we do publish every weekend the latest financial data. So we're updating around 60 financial data points for every company. And as we're investors, we don't need real-time information. So for the time being, it is like this. And I could ask is what was the share price of Nike last week, and how does it compare to this week's price? You could also, of course, ask to have a graph as well. And again, when you're using large language models, I mean, this being powered by ChatGPT Plus, but it's a custom GPT built on top of OpenAI's large language model. You actually can write in English and French, in whatever, Chinese, Japanese, Russian, Korean, etc., in the languages that you like. So you see that the share price has dropped a lot compared to last week. And so you could actually do now a very quick analysis. But first I want to come back to this cash versus debt and debt to equity. You could say, what is the current debt to equity ratio and cash to debt ratio for Nike? And yes, why has it taken the prompt? Yes, I think it has taken the prompt. yeah, sometimes you have in the OpenAI, let me just, yeah, you see it looks like this happens sometimes with OpenAI, that you have actually a glitch in the, so you just do new chat and you just copy paste the prompt in. So this is not linked to WinGPT, this is sometimes linked to OpenAI, where you have such errors. I don't have the feeling that there's any incident going on. I'm just gonna very quickly check on status.openai.com if they have an underlying incident or not. No, there are not. So this was a small glitch that we have. So of course I created a new chat, so it has lost the context, so it has to figure out again if Nike is in the investment universe of Vinge. So this takes, at the first prompt to warm up the model, takes a little bit more time, and normally should be able to come up with an answer on the current debt to equity ratio and cash to debt ratio. And then I will just so I will again prompt the model for the latest share price of Nike and ask the model to, yeah, so here you have the ratios. So those are actually very good ratios. You could actually say, can you assess those ratios? Those ratios, are they good or bad, for example? Okay, so yeah, so you see it says typically ratio above 2 or 3 could indicate high financial leverage and potential risk, which is not the case on debt to equity, so it's actually very decent. So ratio below 1 indicates that the company has more equity than debt, which is generally considered a sign of financial stability. The ratio is at 0.82, and with cash to debt of 6, so 0.635. You see here WinGPT saying with a ratio of 0.635, Nike shows strong liquidity with a positive sign for its financial health. So again, let me just recheck what is the latest share price of Nike, and then we do a quick intrinsic value calculation, and we're gonna wrap up the video here. I hope you like the format. Do not forget to first of all subscribe to the channel, leave comments. So do not hesitate to tell me if you like this new format or not. The intention is to publish more often and to show you and to make quick analysis of companies, and hoping with that it will be helpful for you. So do not hesitate to put some comments in here, but do not forget to subscribe as well. So you see it comes up with a share price that's again the same price, and I will ask actually here, can you calculate the intrinsic value? I can also write like this if you want: intrinsic value, discounted cash flow, and discounted future earnings per share for the company. Let's do that, and then we wrap up the video. So of course it knows, so it tells you here what assumption it will be using. It's use discount rate, growth rate, so 7% cost capital, 3% growth rate, and now it's going to retrieve the figures that it needs. It needs the free cash flow to the firm from Nike, it needs the net income, it needs the number of outstanding shares. And so remember that those models, large language models, are non-deterministic, so the format will not always be exactly the same. So sometimes you have to ask them for the assumptions, so that it tells you the assumptions. And yeah, so I know the values are correct. It's 71.99 on 30 years and 60.79 on I think that's the discounted future earnings, and the discounted cash flow is 71.99, which compares to the current share price of 75.37. But remember that you could adjust the growth rate and the cost of capital as well. You could say recalculate the IVs with a growth rate of 5%. There is a typo, we don't care. The model has to autocorrect himself or herself, itself, and it should actually recalculate the IVs now with this growth rate of 5%. So let it just quickly recalculate it. It has to redo the calculation, of course, and it says, yeah, now revise with the 5%, and you see that the 30-year, both DCF and DFE have increased to 93 and 78, so it's actually a little bit below the current intrinsic value. Again, it's not a solicitation for you now to buy Nike. For me, I have Nike in my portfolio, and I'm seriously considering cost averaging, so buying a little bit more of Nike, even though what I don't like with Nike is their dividend yield is a little bit low at 1.54%. But again, that's again the intention of this channel. And Vinge is not advising you to buy or sell a stock. It has been programmed to prohibit that kind of behavior, but it's really to try to support you in your investment journey. So I hope that this video was useful, and talk to you in the next video. Thank you very much.